I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one nation under God, one and indivisible. Did anyone sign up for public forum? Okay. Let our records show that we have a quorum present. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 members present. The first item on the agenda is our 2014-15 school budget. And I think Mr. Parkinson.
Yeah, I'll try to take a stab at this. So whenever we do a budget at a charter school, we have a template that's given to us by TEA, and we basically plug in numbers as far as getting the revenue side. And so we plugged in what we felt like was a conservative number of students and average attendance and a percentage of our students were special ed and dyslexic and speech impaired and all that, and that all has to play. And it gives us basically the revenue. So that's what we're asking that we adopt, is that $4,294,275 in revenue. Then on the other hand, what you have in front of you is what we feel like our expenditures are going to be this year. I do have a bigger breakdown than that basically it names all of the people and their salaries and all. So what we've tried to do, guys, is be real conservative with our numbers and with our budget. If you look down at the bottom where it says debt service, that's where our biggest hit comes, that we have to take care of as a university charter that most charter schools don't have to. We have to pay for all of our buildings almost up front. So this year we're looking at our debt service for the new building in Longview, the building in Tyler, plus the infrastructure work that we had to do will be $600,000 or very close to it. This year we have next year it's going to be basically the same, but we anticipate that we'll have another 120 or 140 students on top of that. So we ought to start seeing a cushion after that. Now, I'm going to talk to you about the rollover, what I call the rollover, and bear in mind that this is not my day job, and I'm trying to get as transparent as I can. Whenever I say that, I feel like that's what's going to be our balance at May 31 of the year that we're in right now. Our expenditure versus our revenue, we should have a positive balance of around $140,000. And I hate to tell you that. I hate to say that around $140,000 because we get, whenever we chartered, and we are in agreement with our university was that we would do all of our payroll purchasing, the whole 9 yards through the university software. And then we would take those numbers and we would populate Skyward and send our reports in to TEA through Skyward. Those of you that are at the university, you know that we've been going through a software conversion since April 30th. And there's quite a few problems associated with that. And getting accurate numbers has proven to be very difficult. I finally was able to nail down people on how much money we have, what our expenditures should be, and I froze all expenditures for the last month, what expenditures should be in payroll for the month of August. And the very best scenario I can give you is that we're going to come out with about $140,000, but do not hold me to that as an exact figure. And then our budget next year, simply because we have this $600,000 debt service, is probably not the right place to put it, because a typical charter school would have something like that if they'd actually purchased their own buildings and spent it off. But we have this working relationship with the university that makes it a little bit different. So, last year we based this on what we feel like that by Friday our enrollment is going to be for around 575 to 80 kids, and we're almost there. And then we added throughout the course of the first semester last year another 100 kids on top of what had already enrolled by the first week of school. So we feel pretty comfortable with our budget and our projections. So this kind of, if you got questions, I'll do my very best to answer them.
Do you remember what attendance rate you used for that?
I use 97%. Reason being, our first year we had a little over 98%. Last year was close to 96%. And the reason I use 97% is that that's pretty typical as far as elementaries are concerned. Plus, we did not do a very good job on our attendance last year, and I think that we probably could have come a whole lot closer to 97% than we did last year.
Mark, do you know if, I know there's some issues with last year's budget that caused audit problems
That's
and
all
all of
taken.
that. Are we secure and set in terms of being safe, in terms of TEA and audit this year? Because I think that could be a
Yes.
brutal blow.
I have assurance from the president of this university that we will have a positive balance as an one. And I feel like we do anyway. It's just I'm not real comfortable with people solving the way it's working out at this point.
Okay. But we won't be in that situation.
We will not be in that situation. That is a commitment from the president to the school board to everybody.
Okay.
That we will not be in that situation. We can't afford it.
Well, I was going to say I think if we didn't use the charter.
Any other questions on that? So basically, this again is an estimated budget. Whenever real numbers start hitting and we start reporting those to TEA each month, it's kind of correct. But what we have to make sure that we do is that we make sure that our expenditures mirror our revenue, which we did a very good job of last year. Last year, guys, we adopted a $3.9 million budget. But because of the enrollment and attendance issues, we only brought in $3.4 million, and we still came under, that adopted budget. So we will watch it very closely again this year.
Have we not received any federal appropriations?
No, sir, not yet. I think there'll be some more money that will come out this year. That goes to the university. University prepaid for our buildings and our infrastructure, with the exception of the building at Longview, and we are paying that ourselves.
What enrollment number did we use for this?
586.
And what were we yesterday?
Yesterday we were 5. I think they were.
We were 5. Yesterday we were 549. But also you have to take into account immunizations. Any student that was not up to date on their immunization, we could not allow them to receive a schedule and to actually enroll and participate in their school day. So we've followed up with those students. So there's several students on each campus that fall under that category. I say a range between 10 to 12 in the district that just fall under the category of immunizations. And we also have a group of kids that were just out that we followed up with. And then what we've done now is we have taken those numbers and we're looking at our waiting list, because we have waiting lists on a lot of those, in a lot of those grades throughout all 3 campuses. And so what we're doing now is following up with those students, because we haven't been able to accept them because these students that were scheduled to come, like I said, a handful did not show up. And the ones that we called and followed up with, we still have a handful that now have decided they're not going to come. So what we're doing now is looking at those waiting lists. The admins and directors are following up with those parents on the waiting list and trying to get those students enrolled. So I feel very confident that we will be at the number that we predicted. Mark, it's hard for me to hear. Did you say that it was supposed to be, it was 575 or 586? What did you say?
586 was the budget we built on.
86, okay.
Bear in mind that Dallas yesterday, their enrollment was 17,000 students that didn't come the first day of school. So evidently that's not an unusual thing. So we have some kids that are out sick, some that were funerals, others that their immunizations weren't up to date, and then we have a waiting list. A lot of areas
On the staff development, the curriculum development, the $250,000 we set aside for staff development, is that picked up from last year's budget?
No, sir.
Is some of that contracted out or?
Nothing, the staff development and all that is basically payroll for the curriculum director and the two coaches that we have on the campuses now. So we didn't, and Dr. Bond, I'm at your mercy because you're much better at this than I am. We may not have it in the right function or the right place, and if we do need to move that, we need to.
We probably need to look at moving 13 and 71, but we'll take a look at that.
13 to what?
I don't know right now.
Did you say 13 to 71, meaning some of the staff development debt services?
No, that's not what I mean.
In TEA's realm, everything is dependent upon specific functions and codes, and there are many more than we do here at the university, and we just have to, as we adopt our budget, either get them in the right place or come back and do an amendment and get them in the right place.
Yeah, well, it's not an issue.
Mark, I'm going to ask a question from kind of an ignorant point of view here. Every once in a while you hear about in the news, the percentage of money that's, in an ISD that's going to, students versus.
Right. And that is something that once we get real numbers from people's office kind of has promised us that by September or October that we ought to be able to get real numbers from last year. And once we're able to do that, we'll be able to compare that to this year and get you those kind of numbers where so much money is per student for the different functions. We'll be able to do that. It's just.
Well, I wasn't as much per student, but just as a percentage of the budget. I thought that was one of the things with TEA was when they looked at an ISD, they looked at, what percentage of money actually went to classroom versus
and that's
outside,
that's what these different codes tell TEA, how much of the percentage of each money goes to those different.
All right.
So that number 11, instruction, 2.3 million, is that considered to the classroom?
Yes.
That is all teachers, all instruction.
Everything else would be not that?
There's other things that are support, instructional support, that could be your aides and things, and there's administration and all.
Right.
But
we're well within the ratios.
Right, I was just wondering what it was. I wasn't.
That 2.3 million would be all the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
It would be all the fringe. It would be any aides, be it diagnosticians, anybody that's contracted for speech pathology, ESL,
Materials.
and things like anything that has to do with instruction. It's always the biggest part of the budget.
Do our teachers get classroom supply money?
Yes.
How much?
This year,
It was $150.
$150 a teacher, I believe.
Yeah. And then each campus was also budgeted. So.
And then each campus had a budget associated with their campus director materials and supplies. We went on this year's budget. We went ahead and bought the furniture and things like that we needed for the schools, so they won't show up on next year's budget.
What services are contracted out there that is not intra-UT? In other words, to an outside company?
We do, or like our psychologists, or if we have to have an out for our special ed kid, dyslexic or speech, things like that, we contract out. ESL. That's basically the biggest part of looking at here. We just don't have the expertise here on campus to.
Well, we do have the expertise on campus, but we have faculty who have full loads.
Yes,
and so faculty don't have time to just do it for free, and constantly.
I think a better way to put it, we don't have the expertise available.
I was going to say, we have the expertise on campus, but, if I take someone from for instance, the ESL person, I lose someone teaching 2 classes, or
Do we
We have a diagnostician, don't we?
We hired one full-time. We used some staff here on campus the first year, but they had a heavy load. And the load that we have for special ed is so much that we ended up having to hire someone.
And it looks like we also have a school psychologist.
That is one. We have a school psychologist on the Ingenuity Center staff, and so that if that's needed, he's a certified LSSP. We use him and contract him out if necessary.
Well, so far the budget does reflect the state revenue, and that's all we have at this point. So that's all you can show. The expenses in the functions, the function column shows all of the functions that are legally required to be adopted before the September 1st start date. So we have a whole year to work on the budget. So anything within a function, we can move with the budget amendment anytime during the school year. So I think the budget looks, as far as I'm concerned, it looks pretty good to go ahead and adopt. We'll have a year to work on this budget because these amendments in the next item are from last year's budget.
Yes, so that would be, and we don't have any. We just put that in case we discovered that we needed any at this time.
Yeah.
So, are you asking for a motion?
We need a motion if there's no. But I didn't know if the discussion was over or not. Does anyone have any more questions about this budget? Any more concerns, issues? If not, can we have a motion to adopt the budget?
I make a motion that we adopt this current budget for the 2014-2015 academic school year.
Good. We have a motion to adopt. Do we have a second by Dr. Swain? Do we have a second? We have a second by Mr. Humphrey to accept the budget. All in favor? Sign of aye. Anybody opposed? Next item is the budget amendments, and now this item is for amendments to the 13-14 budget.
And we have none.
We have none.
That was just an action item in case.
Okay.
So these last few days.
Okay. Adopt policy high school credits.
Joanne, you want that one?
Yes, basically what we're looking at here is there's a local and legal policy. The legal policy is, again, like we talked about, that's basically the law. What we're looking at doing is we have our 8th grade students this year, and we have several of those students that will be eligible to take some courses that will count for high school credit. This policy, both legal and local, will allow us to adopt those classes. Right now, we have got 5 classes that we're looking at that these students can take and be able to receive high school credit in the 8th grade. We're looking at Algebra 1, Quantum Mechanics, Art History, and Spanish 1. 4 of those classes, there's only 4 classes. 3 of those classes will be taught through OdysseyWare, which is our online program where students will access the course and work through it with only the assistance of a teacher monitoring their progress through the course. So again, this policy will allow us to have those courses available for students to take to receive high school credit in the 8th grade.
What were those 3 subjects, Joanne?
We've got Algebra 1, which is taught by a teacher in the Innovation Academy on each campus. So that is a face-to-face class, but it will count as a high school credit. Quantum Mechanics will be taught by through OdysseyWare, Art History, and Spanish 1.
Now the person that's monitoring the Art History and the Spanish 1 is is that a retired teacher that has certifications in both of those, Joanne?
Correct. I know it's, yes.
So she will.
She is working for us part-time, and so what she will be doing is she will oversee the student's progress throughout the course and provide them that support as needed. But the course is fully online, but again, she will be available to provide that support.
Well, basically, what we're saying is that for our middle school kids to get high school credit, specifically eighth graders, the board has to approve a policy to allow that to happen. This year specifically, we have eighth graders that will be taking Algebra 1, which is a ninth grade course, and we'd like them for them to receive high school credit for that. And then we've identified 3 courses online with our Odyssey Ware curriculum that will also allow students to have high school credit. Now, the way that we want to approach the Odyssey Ware is that students that decide that they want to take any one of those 3 go through the counselor there to school, and that we would make sure that from looking at academic records that these kids were really capable of doing it, because we don't have the staff, we don't have the wherewithal to monitor and to help these kids a whole lot, so they have to be really advanced kids to be able to go through these courses. But in the event that they did and they completed the course, we wanted to be able to give them high school credit if they chose any one of those 3.
Okay, so, excuse me, is the high school credit limited to the 8th graders?
Yes, yes, it
We
is.
have some 7th graders taking Algebra 1.
Do you know what the rule is on that, Joanne? If the 7th graders taking Algebra 1, if they were able to receive high school credit?
I know that a 7th grader can take Algebra 1 and receive high school credit, but I don't know. What was the question about the rule?
Yes, if the 7th graders taking Algebra 1, would they be able to receive high school credit?
Yes, a 7th grader can take Algebra 1 and receive high school credit.
Okay.
So that would apply.
At this time, I'm not aware of any 7th graders that we have that are taking Algebra 1, but I know that is
I think we've got 3, Joanne.
a choice.
Yeah. There are like 3 at each campus. Yeah,
We do have a few.
As we have had issues with Odyssey Ware, what kind of curriculum map has been made to map the text to Odyssey Ware to guarantee the board that the required state's content is being taught? Because, we've been burned on Odyssey Ware so far.
We flew to Arizona in May to talk to Odyssey Ware about what we felt like our issues were. We were kind of surprised to find out that Odyssey Ware did much more than what it does do. For whatever reasons, there was choices made not to access some of the modules and some of the things that were available. Odyssey Ware came down and spent, Joanne, 3 or 4 days training our people the third week of August, to show them how to access the rigor, all the correct text and all that, and put them into the PGL. And that is a commitment that Jacqueline, our curriculum director, and our coaches have made, that we're going to really look very strongly at what goes on in Odyssey Ware this year. If it does not perform the way that we want to, then we'll probably look at making a decision to go elsewhere. But Odyssey Ware on their end is very strong about helping us out, and we've done the extra professional development. We feel like that will help move that along.
Okay, but that still doesn't answer my question about the curriculum mapping.
Well, we also had Becky, who is a certified art teacher. She actually went through the art history course, and the lady that we mentioned that certified in Spanish went through the Spanish course in Odyssey Ware, because we had a variety of courses to select from. And again, we wanted to make sure that we didn't want to start out too big, but we did want to select a few courses for our students to have choices of. So basically, looking at that, these 2 individuals went through the courses that we selected to verify that they were in line with the standards and that it was a good product. If you're asking, because I think she was asking about if, you know, we've been burned on OdysseyWare before, and has anyone really probably even looked through these courses?
Well, by law, we are supposed to teach the text. And so are we teaching the text? That is my question. And, you know, my thing is to be honest with you, somebody needs to say, okay, if it hasn't, this is this person's job. This is this person's, you know, because what we're being told is, okay, everything's going to be good, but there needs to be some teeth to it. There needs to be responsibility. You know, just because we got PD on it, that doesn't assure me a lot.
We spent this summer, and I'm hoping I'm answering your question, Dr. Wayne. We spent this summer doing a scope and sequence and breaking down all these to make sure that they were incorporated in every class and every video.
But for those courses, yeah, you know, I know that y'all really done that with all the face-to-face.
So you're concerned about this?
My concern is for the OdysseyWare.
Right. So, Joanne, I think that you had mentioned that the person that we have that will be monitoring the art and the Spanish has already gone in and broken down OdysseyWare to make sure that it meets text. Is that what?
Yes, they did. They looked at the courses because, like I said, there's several courses you can select from, but we only selected these courses because we felt like that we had the confidence in order to manage them, but also the expertise at the campus level.
Okay, and who's doing the quantum mechanics?
Sheldon Cooper, and that was the name given to me by
Sheldon
Dr.
Davis.
Odell.
I bet it's Sheldon Davis. Sheldon Cooper.
My notes say Sheldon Cooper.
Oh, okay. Okay. That's not what, I'm sorry. I meant,
Joanne.
sorry, I didn't ask what I meant.
Joanne, Dr. Swain.
I don't know if that's accurate.
I'm thinking that was a joke in an email strand that we had going on, that whenever we talked about what we were going to bring up, that somebody brought up quantum mechanics and somebody else said, well, Sheldon Cooper, the Big Bang Theory, could teach that. So we need to scratch that off.
All right, well, no, I'm just writing the notes on the courses that we're adopting.
Art history, Spanish 1, algebra.
Okay, because we've been told 4.
And I apologize for that. I didn't realize that somebody had taken that seriously.
Well, you know, and so if we have someone, we need the expertise.
If we have somebody that can do quantum mechanics, we'll put them in there.
I think that was Odell that I'm going to be sending me an email that you're in trouble.
Diana, it says in the documents you provided, the online school program, I guess this is from the Texas Administrative Code. I'm on that, I guess, page 1 of 11, but it says it has to be made through an approved course provider. Is this Texas Administrative Code, does TEA have a list of approved course providers?
Yes, and OdysseyWare is one.
OdysseyWare is
Then that helps.
Yeah.
They are approved, correct.
Okay. Then what they have has been vetted by TEA to cover the standards and do what we need to do. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Other than quantum mechanics.
Right.
I'm embarrassed.
I obviously don't watch the show or I'm not there.
Well, I'm just, I figured, the computer Sheldon Davis on here.
Mark, where will we house our procedures that are established locally to operate this course?
Where we house
In the handbook?
Yes, sir. We have our local and our legal policy online right now, but we will put that in our handbook.
Okay.
Were there issues yesterday and today with, I think maybe with OdysseyWare or with the electronic component?
I I think there's a third component they were adding this year is haiku, which is the grading component. My understanding, I think that most of our problems are fixed, is that the email addresses that the students use didn't migrate over, but I think that they worked on them overnight and were able to get most of them taken care of. It's still a little bit of a work in progress because we've got 3 different softwares that we're trying to manage and make it easiest for the students and the parents to be able to monitor what's going on.
So the students who wish to do this go through a kind of case-by-case
Yes.
enrollment or whatnot.
With the exception of Algebra 1, they've already had looked at their academic records and determined that they thought they would be successful.
And they will do these Odyssey Ware courses. Algebra 1 will be taught in Innovation Academy by a teacher in front of them. The art history and the Spanish will be done basically at home.
Yes.
Okay. Correct. And then once a week or something, they will meet with the.
They have a facilitator that will monitor them all the time. They have the ability to talk via email or whatever, or even through Odyssey Ware at all times. So that person will grade it and update.
And this is the retired teacher who's certified in both.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. She will be on Becky's campus a day or 2 a week, won't she?
Yeah, she's not retired, she's a part-time teacher for us right now.
Okay.
Somebody that used to.
What is, this does not have to do with this, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it now. What is our plan, if anything, as far as foreign languages go?
As we go into next year in high school, that is some really big conversations that we're all going to have. And it's something that we realize that we've got to draw in the school board and everybody else to determine how we're going to do high school.
Okay. I guess, does Odyssey Ware offer Spanish 2, Spanish 3?
Does whenever whenever you're looking at these kids taking accelerated courses like that, it's just your kids that are probably at the upper level and most driven that are able to do this successfully. So we are going to have to look at face to face on a whole lot of the Spanish students, Spanish 1 for a lot of kids. We're really going to have to look real hard over the next 3 or 4 months how it's going to look next year. Okay.
Any more questions about policy EHDE legal and EHDE local? We have to adopt EHDE legal. That's a legal policy. We do not have to do EHDE local, of course. I would advise we do. It's the same policy. One is administrated. They both are administered locally. The legal policy is a law. The local policy is our interpretation.
Are they 2 separate motions, or are they one
No,
motion?
they can be one motion. We'll need a motion to adopt policy EHDE legal and EHDE local.
Local is basically how we determine that we're going to fulfill legal.
I'll make that motion.
There's a motion by John. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Flynn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried. Motion to adjourn.
Dr. Long, before we adjourn, I'd like to make just kind of update you on just a few things. Not spend a whole lot more time here, but
Not on our agenda.
we did get our accountability rating back. District did meet standard. Palestine met standard with distinction.
Not on the agenda.
Tyler met standard as an individual campus. Longview did not make standard in, what was it? Objective. Four.
We'll add it. It's not on the
Anyway,
agenda. We'll add
basically,
it
it
next
was
time.
one student that we did not make standard in TEA, and that's on appeal. TEA says that we can't appeal if TEA made a mistake. Our numbers and Pearson's numbers do not match TEA's number on one kid, and one kid would flip the accountability rating. So that's on appeal. So, we'll see how TEA looks at that. So anyway, just want to fill you in on that. We did roll out breakfast this year. Everybody had breakfast yesterday today, and we're working out our votes on that. So we're excited. And again, we've already talked about enrollment. And
Can we have a motion to adjourn? Can we have a motion to adjourn? We don't have it on the agenda.
There was a minute.
It's not on our agenda.
I think that it can be on next.
We can put it on the next week's agenda.
That was my fault.
Because it's a special call meeting. And
we'll need a motion to adjourn. It's not on.
On our next board meeting is supposed to be next Thursday, and we'd like to try to push that back a little later on in the month to allow us to get more information for you guys. Can we send out some dates and see how that works?
Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved.
Motion adjourned.
Seconded.
Motion carried.
Thank y'all for putting up with me.
Thank you.
Joanne, you good?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you. Line you up.
We're on air. We're on air. We're not on.
Yes, sir.
Well, now.
That's what I was trying to say, is that we should have done that. If it wasn't on there, so we can't do it.
See, we can't